Hello, welcome to ABW Radio. Yeah. Oh, the joy, yeah. Oh, the joy. We've already got 85 in the box. How are you all? I'll go through a few names now. Joining me today is John Welsh. John, say hi.
All right, Jace.
Ecstatic, mate.
Yeah, I haven't got many words today, mate. Well, I have, just not in the happy mode.
Yeah, I know. And alongside us, we have the Carl. How are you, pal?
Surprisingly, not pissed off. I'm not angry. I'm, like we were saying, disappointed, I guess.
Yeah. It's not a good day. It's not a good day at all. Right, in the chat box. And first in the chat box today was Mika for Life. Then we had MSH 1411. Oscar Arias, Gunner 93, and 235100. DK Druid, Usama Zaka, Boy 10 Dio. Who else is there? Sorry, guys. Carlito El Guna, Loki 73, Mad Wired 1, Arsenic Gunner in Case, Guardian Dandy, formerly Noza, Hypno Show, Ron Reed, Jove 82, Viking, Payush Kapoor, Lossless, Sidhu 7549, J Rob, Tayu Adere, The Long Blake Road, AFC Cam, Super Eat Shotty. Oh, what the hell is that? All right, that's enough for now, okay? Hello, all. Thank you for joining us. As always, we appreciate your support. Yeah, it's a dark, dark day. Right, let's get into it. Carl, I'm coming to you first. Lineups. Was that the only way to go? What did you think?
Was I surprised by the back three? Yes, because we haven't played the back three for quite a long time. So for us to go into a cup final with back three against arguably the best footballing team, well, definitely the best footballing team in England, but arguably the best footballing team in Europe, it was a risk that for me didn't come off today. I don't think I would have gone with a back three. I definitely would have gone with a back four, probably would have gone 4-3-3 if it was me. But then I don't get paid £10 million a year to make those decisions. I think the formation was wrong today, and I know a lot of people will definitely argue against it, but for me, the back three didn't work, and especially not against, Man City, who just picked us apart.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it, pal? John, anything to add on that? What was your thoughts?
I was surprised that it was a back three as well. I was talking last night on Twitter and sort of debating back and forth whether I wanted to see a back three today or a back four. I actually wanted a back three. I thought that it was probably our best chance. The one thing that confused me, but surprised me a little bit about the lineup is I thought it would be Koscielny, Mustafi, Monreal as the back three, and then it was a case of whether it's going to be Kolasinac or Maitland-Niles at wing back. I would have gone Maitland-Niles just for his pace and his recovery pace. I think when Kolasinac gets turned, it's too easy to get past him. So I was fairly happy with it. The only other thing as well, it wasn't really a back three when we started. We actually really did start as a flat back five. The one thing I wanted to see was the switch in the midfield where we had Ramsey next to Xhaka for majority of the first half. I actually wanted Jack there and Ramsey a bit higher up the pitch. So I just think he's got better legs and a better engine to do the up and down all game than maybe Jack has. But to be honest, we kind of lost our shape pretty early on and didn't really seem to have one after that. So other than that, I thought it was fine. We basically didn't have any other options, really. I mean, there was no one else to pick from. You look at the bench, what we had on there. I don't know who else he could have put out, to be honest. So I wasn't too worried about the lineup, and the fact that Sterling didn't start for City and wasn't in the squad at all, I thought was a big bonus for us as well. So once they got sort of the team sheets came out, I was a little bit more confident. Just that one sort of question mark over, obviously, Callum Chambers came in, and Monreal pushed out to left wing back, which obviously shows the manager hasn't got any faith in Maitland-Niles or Kolasinac at the moment.
Yeah, it's really worrying that you look at the Ostens game, nobody put their hand up for today. Not one player.
Yeah.
And we're reliant on a core of players to get us through a season when, we've spent quite a lot of money and, we should have youngsters coming through the academy setup. Carl, we started off quite slowly, City were in ascendancy, and then we had a bit of a chance for Aubameyang. What did you make of that?
It was a half chance. I wouldn't say we had a full chance. We did start very, very slow, and I didn't expect that from Arsenal. I thought they would come out, at the traps fast. I thought they would sort of be zipping the ball about because it's a final, and obviously you expect the team that you're playing against to do almost exactly the same thing. Because Man City, that's what they've done. They are a great football inside. They're very, very good. But it just seemed for us today we didn't quite get going. We just didn't, the old cliche, we didn't get out of first gear. I mean, to be honest, not only Man City, but it just seemed like we just never ever got going, and it's really frustrating and hard to figure out why didn't we manage to sort of kick on. The Aubameyang chance of it's one of those ones where you think, oh, should he have done better, could he have done better? Maybe hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I don't think today was meant to be. It just really wasn't.
No, it just didn't seem that way, did it? John, moving on from that chance, then there was a penalty shout for Nacho. Did he make the most of it? Was it a dive, or what did you think?
I mean, I thought it was a dive, but then he got up very quickly and sort of waved away and said, "No, I'm not appealing for anything." There wasn't contact there. I think he thought there was going to be something. He's gone down and then realised he weren't going to get anything and gone, "Oh no, I'll get up very quickly and hold my hands up, say no. I just tripped. Momentum carried me to the floor or whatever." So yeah, I don't think that was a penalty at all. But yeah, I mean, in the first half, was that our two best chances, the Aubameyang one and Carl said, I think that was a half chance, really. Was it Carl Walker got his foot to the ball, didn't he?
Carl Walker beat Aubameyang to it.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't remember any real chances other than those two. But we started the game very slow, which I mean, we have done in lots of games, but I think it was more a case of us showing a lot of respect to City. I thought after 10 minutes, we actually started to play okay. We got our foot on the ball a little bit and passed it round, and we didn't create a lot, but I thought we were better.
Yeah, I think we started to come into the game after about 10 minutes, and we won some free kicks in quite decent areas, to be fair. But each time the free kicks are poor. Carl, it was mentioned on commentary. Why are we using in-swingers from left footers instead of out-swingers from a right footer on those free kicks to sort of give our guys a chance to get on the end of the ball? What did you think of the free kicks we took in the first half?
If only there was something that we could do daily to sort of practice things like that, some sort of go into a place where they could practice things like that. It begs belief why everyone, it's like we were saying before, why can everyone see apart from the players on the pitch? Maybe is there no one else to take the free kicks? And they were poor. They really were poor. One was overhit, went sky high, and the other one went straight out for a goal kick. And I guess we'll come on to that for the goal, but it was I didn't get it. Like you said, like you think to yourself that what kind of free kick you're going to need, where the ball is going to float and what's going to be the easiest for someone to try and get a head on it, and we just do totally the opposite, like the absolute total opposite. So I have no idea what runs through the player's head or what they do in this perceived training that they apparently do daily, because it definitely is not the free kick training or defending or attacking or goalkeeper training. I don't know what they do.
It'd be nice to have some pictures, some changing rooms, have a chat with the boys, get out there, kick a ball around. Be lovely, wouldn't it? It wasn't good. John, I want your thoughts on that as well. When you look at so many other teams, it seems that every other team in Europe or in world football would use these free kicks as an attacking opportunity or corners. And for argument's sake, we had a spell just around Christmas where we scored a few goals from corners, etc. And now it's kind of left again. And I'm really, really getting bored of it. It's
yeah.
I honestly, whether it be Xhaka or Ozil, you kind of know that we're not gonna, it's not going to be in the areas for our guys to attack. And then the Ramsey free kick, which, okay, the keeper had to make a save. Was it the most difficult save he's ever going to have to make?
I mean, no, the whole thing today was really weird. Like, I mean, you already said about out-swinging and in-swinging free kicks, and we sort of got a run of 3 or 4 in roughly the same area. The corners were poor. When Xhaka took them, they were overhit, like nearly every single one of them, massively overhit and was going out for a throw-in. Ozil overhit one, which obviously then we get to go on a minute from that one. And they were either overhit or underhit, and I don't get it. When you've got Xhaka, who, the one thing everyone says he can do well is his long passing. Today was just dreadful. Really wasn't on it. And it's from a set piece as well, where he's got no pressure on him. It's not like it's in game, where he's got people surrounding him, because we know he's slow on the ball and slow to turn. Ozil as well, who that's his game. His whole game is passing, his vision, spotting that. And there was, I think, my coverage, I had the Sky Sports, so I had Gary Neville for the first half, and then I lost the feed, so I had to go to another one. But there was one where they said, oh, look, there's a little reverse ball on here, like just on the ground for Aubameyang to run on. And he was sort of coming off the back of Gundogan. And just in previous games earlier in the season where we'd played better, we saw those passes and tried to make them happen. Whether they came off or not is a different thing. But I think sometimes a lot of that comes down to confidence and how you're feeling in the game as well. Because our players they didn't look confident at all today. They looked nervy, on edge. And that's the big disappointment, is because I thought until the goal and actually leading up to it, we actually started to improve our play, sort of in open play at least. We got on the ball more. We weren't just sitting back and just hoping to get to half time at 0-0. But yeah, just everyone looked nervous, and just the passing today was really, really poor. From Ozil and Xhaka in particular, those two, I thought.
I also thought the movement is poor, though. And I'm going to come to you, Carl, on this. We spoke before we started the show. It seemed as though when City were in possession and when we closed down, the players showing for their players around the ball carrier would always show us a couple of steps to the left or the right, getting into position to receive the ball for a clean pass from the guy in possession. Now, we don't seem to do that. We were so static throughout this game. And it's an universal law in football. Good movement promotes good football. It gives you options. Why were we so static today?
Because unfortunately, we just don't have the players that are good enough. Aaron Ramsey was just coming back from injury. It's a massive game to throw him into, massive game. And I'm not going to use his injury as an excuse, because he was poor today, and that's everyone. Jack Wilshere's been poor for the last couple of games, and I'm kind of rooting for Jack. I am, because I want him to do well, but it's just becoming apparent that these players are not good enough. Xhaka, he's not a defensive midfielder. Defensively, he is unaware. He just lets people run off him all the time, and he doesn't. I guess John will, watching him last year, will have. The year before last, will have a better handle on this. But he just doesn't seem, where we deploy him, he doesn't do well. He's always the one that's, if he plays in the 2 or whether he plays in the 3, he's always meant to be the more defensive minded one, and that's not his game. He's not got the defensive brain to play that sort of position, and I have no idea why he keeps being deployed in that sort of position. Our players just don't do basic things like get the ball, take a few steps back or take a few steps forward and run with it. No, what they do, they pass it to the side, and then if nothing's on, just the first thing they do, revert back and pass it back to the goalkeeper. It is systematically what we do every single game, and it's coming to a point now where team's going to know what we're going to do. So that's why they press us, and then they press up hard the pitch, and then we can't get out. The amount of times where the ball went back to Ospina and we just couldn't get out of our own area, it was just a joke. And unfortunately, in the summer, we have a lot of very hard decisions to make of who stays and who goes, and that's from the very top right down to the players.
Expand on the Xhaka point, please.
Okay, so for me, whenever he plays with Aaron Ramsey or Jack Wilshere, he's always the one that's the, I guess, sitting midfielder. He's always the one that's supposed to break up the play. But for me, from what John tells me, that when he played for Gladbach, that was never him. He was the one that was the make things happen, the deep line 10, if that makes sense. That he was the one that would spray the ball about, from what John tells me. And you can see in his game, because you think of, do you remember the Swansea game where he just let the player run off him, and I can't remember who the player was for Swansea, and they scored. And it happens time and time again. He doesn't track players. He doesn't do the defensive midfielder role. And unfortunately, that's maybe not his problem, because that's not his game. But he's been asked to play that role and also play almost a box-to-box midfielder. But for me, he doesn't have the people around him to do that job. John, if you could sort of jump in here. So when he played for Gladbach, he played in the middle of a three, I'm assuming. So he had runners to the left and the right.
He did. If they were short of players, Gladbach, he would play as the DM if he really had to. But it's not his game. I retweeted a piece earlier by Richard Hall on Twitter. He's a journalist who normally covers Italian football, but he does German as well. And he was talking about Xhaka and how basically he would be, let's say we still had Coquelin in the team and he played as a DM. You could play Xhaka next to him, and Coquelin's job would be win the ball and give it to Xhaka. Then Xhaka would be the link between the defense and the defensive midfielder, and then on to, say, the number 10, like an Ozil or Jack or Ramsey, or maybe even a quick long ball into a striker like Aubameyang to run onto. So he was always the link man. And then in other times in games, he would play further up the pitch. He would be the Aaron Ramsey getting in the box and trying to score goals and stuff. So he's not a DM. And in that article, it's quite interesting because it was the summer when we were linked with. Do you remember we bought Sanchez and we were linked with Sami Khedira as well? And it was, we're going to get Khedira at the same time, and we ended up getting Xhaka. Well, everyone thought, because we haven't got Xhaka, because we haven't got Khedira, Xhaka must be the same type of player. But Khedira wasn't a DM either, and isn't one. He can do it if you ask him to, but it's not his best position. And I don't think, the problem today it's been the same as all season. Our midfield combinations haven't worked. I don't think the players know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. I'm not, Gary Strider saying they don't defend Xhaka. I'm not defending Xhaka. I thought he was very poor today. It's not me defending him. I'm just trying to explain that, players like to play in a certain position with certain players around them doing a certain role, and that's what you're getting. We didn't buy a DM, and he isn't that. We don't. The whole midfield setup just isn't working. This is the biggest issue. And if one player in the midfield doesn't work, then the rest of it isn't going to work either. I thought Ramsey and Jack were okay in the first half. They were probably our two best players, but they weren't setting the world alight by any means. And everyone knows how big a Rambo and Jack fan I am, to be honest. It's poor all round. And if you get one player playing out position, playing wrong, the next player is doing it wrong as well. And I just thought the setup was wrong today. I thought there's no quickness on the ball. You're asking people to do things they can't do.
But what was our setup today? Like, genuinely, we had three.
I don't know who was supposed to be playing where.
I genuinely cannot tell you who was supposed to do what in our three midfield.
Because you had Jack and Rambo both playing high quite a lot of the time. I was looking at, and you could see them both high. And to be fair to Xhaka, he is on his own at this point. back there. So he's offering no, we're offering no defensive cover to our midfield, to the defense, sorry. And, when they got possession, okay, we got back a lot of the time, but, we weren't very effective going forward or going backwards. Carl, on to the first goal then. What's their keeper's name?
Bravo.
Thank you. Bravo. Long. I honestly. Okay, listeners, if ever I didn't want to be here, it's today. Okay. And I got to do this crap again on Thursday. Right? And I've said this more times this season than I care to mention. This is just getting hard work. So, Carl, it's a Bravo long ball. What is Mustafi doing? I have no idea. Ospina, I don't know what he's doing either, to be honest with you.
No, I don't think it's Ospina's fault. Okay, so let's start with the obvious. So Bravo gets the ball and literally looks up and sees Aguero literally by himself. There are meant to be 3 centre-backs and Aguero is by himself. So it's a good kick by us, Bravo as well. Give credit where credit is due. An absolutely very accurate, pinpointed kick. Now, basic defending, you need to know where your man is. If you are standing in front of your man, you do not know what he is doing. So Mustafi, and I'm sick of this people saying, oh, he's a World Cup winning defender. Fuck that shit. If he's a World Cup winning defender, he should know that you have to have eyes on your man and you have to be goal side of your man. From everyone here has probably played football when they were like 6, 7, 8 years old. How does anyone not know that you have to be goal side of your man? And then he gets do you know what? I don't want to call it a shove or a push because he got touched on his back. He throws his arms up in the air like he's been shot. He doesn't go down, but he throws his arms up in the air and Aguero just runs in on goal. And now you can't blame Ospina for that because if he comes running out, Aguero is good enough, he's going to chip him.
Sorry, mate. Bear me a second. Alan Morgan, you may be a spud. It's time to fuck off. Goodbye. Take where your trophy's gone? Oh, you haven't got any. Now go fuck yourself. Carry on.
Justice. Yes, sorry. So I don't blame Ospina for that because if he comes running out, I think Aguero is going to touch the ball past him or just chip him anyway. I think if he stays, then Aguero's 1-on-1 with him and he's not going to get it in. But what Mustafi is doing, I have no idea. How do you not know the basic rule of defending? Know where your man is. You got to know where your man is. And he gets touched on the back and throws his arms up in the air. Like that, what I don't understand is what part did he think that's a goal? Oh, sorry. What part did he think that's a foul? Not a foul whatsoever. And that is just embarrassing defending. And he's a professional footballer. He gets paid thousands and thousands of pounds a week. And to defend or to play like that, to not do the basic things that you should do as to know where your man is, come on, you've got to be better than that. Mustafi, for me, how he is a starter for Arsenal, I have no idea. I think he's a starter for Arsenal because we genuinely have no one else, and he's the best of a bad bunch. That was really, really terrible from him.
But we've seen the same thing from Montreal. We've seen the same thing from Koscielny. John, it's no different no matter who we put out there, is it?
That was honestly, it was pathetic. Gary Neville really summed it up perfectly. Lots of times during the game, but we were embarrassing at times, and that is honestly, I mean, we've had some bad defeats this season, like really bad defeats and really bad performances. But that single moment, imagine you're Aguero, a striker that good, and you just look up and you can see the number of the defender who's supposed to be marking you. You're absolutely pissing yourself laughing. Thank you very much. And don't take anything away as well from his finish, because the finish was superb.
Brilliant.
There's a great finish as well. So I mean, that wasn't easy either. But just how can you do? This is the thing. This is why I understand why sometimes say don't pin it all on the manager. It's the players, because that is simple. That's basic. and it's so poor. And the thing is, I think that when you sum up this season and the trend Arsenal have been going for the last couple of years, we've had some great wins in the FA Cup, and I'm not taking them away because they were superb, and I celebrated them and absolutely loved them. But when you have a manager who's not coaching the team in the correct way, which I think is clearly apparent when you see sometimes how the way we set up and the way we play in a game, that gets in the players' heads. They start playing badly, and they're nervous on the pitch. And then you have all of that coupled with, well, we made a mistake in that game. They're just going to start making more and more errors.
But John, things like that doesn't need coaching. Like,
No,
how do you not know that?
Goal, that's all on Mustafi. Like, if you're Mustafi, you should come out and apologise for that. Honestly, he should. If he's not in the dressing room, if he wasn't in the dressing room at halftime, apologising to the rest of the team, and should be apologising to the fans as well, because that is shocking. That is absolutely shocking.
There's a brilliant comment in the box.
Done.
We still haven't replaced Stepanovs.
I don't know. On Mustafi's performance today, maybe we have.
Maybe.
Honestly, it's so poor. And you're right. He's not the only one who's done it this season. There's so many times where you've seen it. A player just get the wrong side of a striker, read the ball wrong, and everything else. And Jace, you played rugby. I know it's a different sport, but if you're on a bad run of form, things start to get in your head, and you start making mistakes. And you start making more and more basic errors.
The problem you've got is no matter what sport you play, no matter what, this could apply to work or anything.
Yeah.
When things start to go wrong, the blame culture kicks in, and there's this kind of pack mentality where you don't trust a certain person, and it kind of goes from bad to worse. I hate to say this, but Villas-Boas, when he said it's a negative spiral, that is what it is.
Yeah.
And and unfortunately, we're slap bang in the middle of it. Yeah. There's no getting out of this. With the eye of the tornado at the moment, of a tornado of negativity, which when you look at the squad of players we've got, I expect better from Aaron Ramsey. I expect better from Mesut Ozil. I expect better from Mustafi. I expect better from all of them. But, especially when you look at, coming off the back of that Osterson's performance, today should have been fire and brimstone.
Yeah.
Today should have been absolutely, I am gonna fuck you up if you come near me. I'm gonna win that second ball. I'm gonna win the first ball. I'm gonna get into them and get in their faces and make this horrible for them. Unfortunately, we didn't even go out with a whimper. We were that poor. Today was very embarrassing. I've got to be honest with you. Carl, we had a long ball from Xhaka to Aubameyang. Lovely first touch, takes it on, and then a great piece of defending from Vincent Kompany. Did you think he was through?
I did. I didn't know Kompany still had the legs in him. I genuinely didn't. I thought Aubameyang was through. I thought I really was, and credit to Kompany. He managed to get back, and sometimes you just got to appreciate good football. You really have to, and that was a great ball, and I genuinely thought, okay, he's through, and then Kompany just comes out of nowhere, and you're literally like, wow, okay, now he's still life in the old dog yet, and I guess we'll talk about him again when we talk about the second goal. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta appreciate good defending and give credit where credit's due. And unfortunately, we was on the wrong side of some good defending.
Yeah, it was a superb piece of defending. I thought the whole piece of play was excellent. The first half then kind of petered out. There were a few little incidents. You had the high boot from Ramsey on Silva. You had Fernandinho's yellow on Jack. More poor free kicks. Aguero had another chance. We're at that point, we didn't seem to be creating anything, and he just whimpered out for us. I'm gonna keep the game short today, to be honest. I'm going to questions more than anything. I think we've had a guts full of this game. Second half, John, they they had some chances. They started very far better in the second half than they were first half, and we came out slower than the first half, and it led to the Mustafi foul on Sane, and the free kick. The free kick led to the corner, and then the company goal. Talk me through it, and then hand over to John because I'm going to get some water.
Just the way City came out in the second half, I thought they'd up the tempo, because I guarantee if we had a City fan on here today, and I'm sure Carl would agree with me as well, that they weren't very good first half, setting by their own standards, which have been amazing this season. If you've watched them play, they were poor, and that's what disappoints me, because I thought first half, if we created more, we could have scored a goal. They were kind of there for the taking. Second half, they came out, pressed a lot higher, didn't let us get out from the back, making us kick it long, putting us under pressure. And they had that. I think they had some free kicks and then corners consecutively, and then just the goal for. Like, we've actually got a half decent record, weirdly. I know it doesn't sound like it, or you probably don't think we do, but if you look up the stats, we've actually got a decent record from set pieces in defending them. But like, Vincent Kompany is just completely unmarked on the edge of the box.
No one around him. What I don't understand is how easy it was.
Yeah.
Like,
I know he gets a bit of luck and there's the deflection and everything else, but you make that luck by being there and opening space.
Yeah, but it's literally on TV now. So literally, you have a line of defenders, Vincent Kompany by himself, and then another line of defenders. Yeah. So I don't understand how he managed to get that much space. And I'm not having this. I saw someone say, "Oh, Sane was in offside position." He doesn't make any action towards the ball, so
that's
not interfering.
Yeah, that's not in the rules anymore. That's not the offside. We had the whole thing with Tottenham and Liverpool and all the debate about offside and whatever. The rules are all clarified. Every goal got checked by VAR today. Sane is not offside. Yes, he's offside, but he's not interfering with play. He doesn't go for the ball. It's not offside. I know Arsenal has said it's offside, the second goal. I think it's honestly
just something he's got to say, isn't he? Like, but what I don't understand is how the ball gets into him so easily. This marking space does not score.
Yeah,
people score. So this we've done it for so long now, of this marking space to the marking men, and it doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work. I know what you're saying, John. You said we had the. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, Carl, it does work for some of the greatest teams in Europe, in European history, European football history. It does work if you execute it properly and you go to win the ball.
But the issue with that goal that I've got, the biggest thing is, you've got Kompany on the edge of the box, who is a huge threat from a set piece. He's very good in the air. He scored lots of goals like that. If he's on the edge of the box, there should be one man, one man's watching him and going, right, I'm expecting a late run in. By the time you've seen that late run isn't going to be made, then you've got to be closing that space as soon as the ball goes out there. But no one closes him quick enough. The speed at which we close down players and let them get a shot on our goal is ridiculous. And just it's so frustrating and annoying, and It irritated me because City upped the tempo second half, but they still weren't at their best. No way were they playing their best football.
And is that down to us not making them play their best football?
They didn't need to.
But we was that bad.
That's what's embarrassing.
We was that bad that they didn't need to play their best football.
Absolutely. Let's be honest, guys. Okay, our effort today, for every player who went on that pitch, was pitiful. And it's the second game on the trot where we just haven't turned up, and you'll see we hope, we wish it had gone better. We're sorry to the fans and all this. Just stop, just fucking stop it, and play as a team. You've all been around each other long enough now. I know we've got a couple of new recruits in Aubameyang, etc., but that's not going to make this team disjointed. All season, we've had an issue where there's a lack of cohesion between the defence and the midfield, between the midfield and attack. And we still aren't solving these problems. And it's a continual issue where, we can see it as fans. Anybody who watches the Arsenal can see it. It's been mentioned by pundits, by us, by the fans. Everybody knows this is an issue, yet we still don't address the issues. And unless you address your problems honestly, you don't learn from that, and you don't, you just don't move forward and solve those problems. So, I don't see anything changing anytime soon.
No,
Carl,
we know it's not going to. It definitely isn't, because we know, I don't want to talk about it, but we know what the issue is, and it's not going to change,
look,
is it?
We'll come to that later, okay? I want to talk now about the Silva goal. What a piece of play. Which one of you wants to take that?
I'll happily take the goal, because, I mean, just the spin on its own. And I saw a lot of people digging out Callum Chambers before the game, which I understand, because he had a poor game against Osterson, and he was a surprise pick in the team. I saw a lot of people saying, why was Rob Holding not picked ahead of him? But I actually thought Callum Chambers was good today, and he got turned and screwed into the ground by a very, very good footballer. And it was a great spin, and and a great goal. Sometimes in games, you just have to hold your hand up and say, wow, that was just brilliant play. They passed it really nice, very, very fluid, moved it quickly. We didn't close and press quick enough, but I don't think we would have got to him, because at that point, it was just one of those little moments in the game, and there were very, very few in which City really did click and get close to playing some of the best football they've done this season. And it was a great goal, and it was a really, really good goal. And I don't want to take anything away from David Silva, because that is fantastic bit of play. And no blame on Callum Chambers either. He's not a quick centre back. Everyone knows that. He did the right thing. He didn't dive in. He didn't try and, he didn't slide in or anything. He tried to hold him up, and he just got outskilled. If that was Mustafi or Koscielny as well, I would have given them a free pass on that goal, because that was brilliant. If that was Aubameyang doing it, or Jack or Ramsey or anything, we'd be saying exactly the same thing.
But don't you think he got turned just a bit too easily? I'm literally just rewatching it now, and I still think as a centre back, he just got turned. So yes, let's take nothing away from what Silva did, brilliant, but it's a bit too easy for me. He just gets rolled. Do you remember against Manchester United when Koscielny got rolled by Pogba? And we was all digging Koscielny out for that, wasn't we? We was like, how did you get rolled like that? And yes, it was very, very good, but I just think that when you're in the box, you've got to be a bit stronger. And I just think that he should have had not saying foul him, because any sort of touch on his shirt, Silva goes down, it's a penalty. Yeah. But have a better hold of him, and it just seemed like, and I don't know. I just feel like there's something more he could have done. And I'm looking at Ospina. I think it was a very good shot right into the bottom corner, and hindsight, you could say, Ospina could have got down quicker, but nah, I don't think there's nothing Ospina could have done with that shot. But
I don't think Ospina. Well, I don't think Ospina did anything wrong today. He did a couple of things wrong. Yes. But I think on the goals, he didn't do anything wrong. But no, I can't. I'm not going to dig Chambers out for that, because I just think it's a great goal. And Chambers is still a young defender who, to be honest, had a brutal time on Thursday. He had a bad game, and he was probably as surprised as anyone that he got picked today, to be perfectly honest. So
I've got to be honest, if you look at that goal, I think it's I don't care who, I agree with John, I don't care who would have been there. Silva, his movement was sublime.
Yeah.
He made the space for himself, and he just finished with aplomb. It was wonderful to watch. Well, not for me, not for us, but when you actually look at the goal and look at the skill level on it,
yeah,
you've got to take
as a neutral. Sometimes you just have to appreciate how good a goal is.
Yeah, because ultimately, what's he going to do there? Because, as you say, when we look at sort of Koscielny against United, I was never angry with him getting turned, because that happens. There's a reason David Silva is at Man City. He's a world-class player. There's a reason United paid all that money for Pogba. I was more annoyed with Koscielny that day because of his distribution and playing stupid balls at stupid times. Playing balls which aren't on across your defensive line. It's just silly. I thought Chambers did well today, to be fair. and as the youngest member, the least experienced member of that defensive line, you know, he can hold his head up high coming out of that. Well,
he's the best of the
higher than anybody else.
Bunch. Yeah, definitely the best of a bad bunch.
To be honest, you guys stuffed the game. You know, we got outplayed. We didn't really put up a fight. It was embarrassing. I do want to talk about our movement. I know we broached this earlier on, but John, there's something inherently wrong when you've got players just stood there expecting the ball to feet all the time when they're man-marked. You know, you got pressure on the ball carrier.
Yeah.
You know, you got pressure on them. There's a player in front of them, and they're still stood there. And we seem to do this time and time again. What's happened to our movement? Where do you think this has gone wrong?
It hasn't been there for a long time. It was the one thing at Arsenal. If we didn't win games or we didn't win trophies, at least the football was good and it was enjoyable. We played nice stuff. But that hasn't been the case for a long time now. The midfield issues, as we said, it's not just about having a defensive midfielder or having, even whether you've got a DM or not, it's just having someone who can put their foot on the ball in the middle of the park and dictate the tempo of the game and take the sting out of the game sometimes. You know, if people talk about Santi Cazorla or someone like that, it doesn't matter who it is, but if you've got someone in the middle who can just get the ball and just give it and take it back and give it and take it back just for 5 minutes, just to take the sting out of the game a little bit, give someone a breather, wait until there's a little bit of space, that kind of intelligence. And we do not have that at all. And the moment you don't have that, everything's rushed. Xhaka, we know, doesn't like playing under pressure, can't play in tight spaces. You know, Jack likes receiving the ball in tight spaces, but today, you know, there was a couple of times when he got fouled, but there was a couple of times when he went down very easily, you know, and he won a free kick out of it. Very clever, you know, trying to get players booked. Then other times he didn't get it and he's remonstrating with the referee. Ramsey, again, he was okay today, but again, not doing enough with the ball. As soon as he was getting it, he's under pressure. The big disappointment again, Ozil was really anonymous. I thought first half wasn't showing for it, trying to find space. And I think part of that as well, you have to give some credit to City as well. They closed us down and made it difficult for us to play through the middle, because that's what we like to do. But then if you're getting crowded out there, then you've got to use the width, and we didn't use our fullbacks enough today, I didn't think. You know, we saw our best chances in the second half came from probably Kolasinac getting forwards when we used that bit of width, and we had a different option and somewhere else to pass the ball, and we weren't as rushed then. And until you sort out your midfield centrally, you know, whether that is a new player coming in or finding a new system and using the players we've already got, because we know they're all good footballers and we know they can all pass the ball very neat and tidy and they can pass it quickly. Until that's solved, that issue, you're going to have this same thing over and over again. And if your central midfield isn't working properly, then you're not going to get the ball to Ozil. You're not going to get it to Mkhitaryan if he's on the pitch, or whoever's further up, you know, Iwobi, and they're not going to be able to create a chance because they're not going to find space and they're not going to get the ball in time. And it's played too slowly. It's just systemic of everything we've been doing wrong this season, and it's just been carried on from the previous season, and it's getting worse. Is the big issue. And it's all in games like this, it's always going to get exposed when you play against a better team.
Jeffrey O'Hara's just put in the box. Ozil played like £35,000 a week player, not a £350,000 a week player. Yeah. And probably knows has gone in with, you mean a £3.50 a week player?
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I thought everyone was poor today. You know, no one comes out of that game really with their head held high. Ozil did really annoy me, and this is why people sometimes stick the boot in on me, because they always go, "Well, you always criticise Ozil." I'm like, well, you know, you're supposed to be world class and you want 350 grand a week, but you never fucking turn up in the big games. Now, granted, none of the rest of the team did either, so it doesn't make it easy for him. But the last thing I want to say on the game, Jace, just before we sort of get onto questions and stuff, the thing that upset me the most today, there's a couple of things. I mean, one, like we said, I don't think City were at their best. They improved second half, but they were there for the taking in the first half. They weren't playing well. There were sloppy passes. They were giving it away, making mistakes. They go 2-0 up. Our players' heads drop. They don't respond and go, this is a final. You know, we've got nothing to lose here. We've got to go for it. They start walking. We go 3-0. It gets worse. We respond, bring on a striker. City do a positive. They don't bring a defender on. They bring a second striker on.
Yeah.
They keep going. City's tempo went up. Their level increased. And they're 3-0 up in the game. They're pressing better than they have at any other point in the entire game, forcing us back further and further and making more mistakes. And we're not even trying. And that's what upset me today. If we come out if we lose today's game, fine, we lose and it's to a better team. It's never nice when you lose, but you accept it if your team puts a performance in. And today we just didn't. If we'd gone out and played well and really tried our hardest and lost, I'd accept it. I could walk away and go, right, fine, we lost to a better side. But we didn't try at all. And it was honestly, it's pathetic. And if you, as a player, you can't get yourself motivated for a cup final, and as a manager, if you can't motivate the players and you can't give them instructions, it's just not good enough. And it's only going to get worse. This is only going to continue for longer and longer. That's the problem.
When is the last time you saw us play against a team that wasn't in the bottom? So I'm going to say barring Everton, because I know this is the easiest one to say. Oh, we scored 5 against Everton. So barring Everton, when's the last time you saw us play a good game?
Tottenham.
The first league game against Tottenham, probably.
And when was that? October, I want to say.
Yeah, it's around there, isn't it?
So that's one performance in what, 30?
We just haven't. This season, we just have not shown up whatsoever. And Jason, I guess this is best in time to talk about it as any. I guess we're going to talk about questions. But Danny always says, and I love when Danny says this, when you change all the players and you change the coaching staff and you change everything else, what's the one only ever present? Now, unfortunately, until that changes, and I'm sick of people saying, "Oh, be careful what you wish for." Well, what do you mean? Man City, Man United, Liverpool and Chelsea all changed their managers last season, and every single one of those teams finished above us. So you can't just stick to what you know. You can't just always say, okay, well, he's done this for us in the past, so he's got to do us in the future. He's on a decline right now. He genuinely really is on a decline. When he first came in, he was a visionary. He absolutely really was. And I don't want to go too much into this. I guess this would be for the podcast more than sort of talking about the game. But it's coming to a time now where, you know, you respect the guy for what he's done. He's done absolutely wonders for this club. He's worked with almost one hand tied behind his back, and he's just done brilliantly. But there's got to be a time now where you've got to say, thank you for what you've done. You've absolutely brought this club to where it is now, and we'll never forget you. But it is time for you to step aside. He's got to, because right now his legacy, and I know people will say it's not, but for me, Arsene Wenger will now be remembered for the second half of his tenure rather than the first half, because he was brilliant when he first came in. The first 10 years were absolutely fantastic. The Invincibles, the 2 doubles, you know, what he'd done at Champions League every single year for 20 years. But now he's going to be remembered for the 8-0s, the 6-0s, the 5-1s against Liverpool, the 5-1s against Bayern Munich. That's what he's going to be remembered for me.
To be fair, you know, I look at it like this. Before a couple of seasons ago, I always thought he can turn it around. He can turn this around. You know, so all we need is a couple of signings, and he can turn it around. And it was the summer he just signed Czech, and he just thought, "What are you doing? You have to continually freshen up and strengthen the squad." And to say there was no, you know, there were no players available or there was nobody there to improve the squad was an utter joke. It was lamentable. It was pathetic to say that. And from that moment, you know, we've regressed. You know, okay, you know, we finished second in the league that season, but fucking Leicester City won the title. We should have won the title. You know, we should have gone out there and smashed that title. It was the best chance we had in years, and he screwed the pooch. And I know we've won the FA Cup since, and you know, against Chelsea last season, that game was magnificent. You know, I don't think I've enjoyed a performance from us so much as that Chelsea game. But that's just a one-off, and consistency has gone to the dogs with us. And you know, I don't know what happens within the club. You know, none of us do. People make assumptions. And okay, making assumptions is great. You may be right on occasion, you may be wrong. It doesn't really matter. But what I see in the football pitch, you know, our football is no longer attractive. It's no longer exciting. We don't make enough chances. You know, we're not scoring enough goals. You know, I mean, did we have a shot on target other than the Ramsey free kick today? I don't think we did. You know, the game against Ostersons, I thought that was the most pathetic performance I have ever seen from an Arsenal side. It was embarrassing. It was far worse than the Forest game. And you go through this and, you know, there's no positivity around this team. There's no positivity. They don't seem excited to take the pitch. You know, they don't seem to be enjoying their football. And it's a simple thing. But when players are enjoying their football and it's all going well, you know, you get that natural buzz, you know, things start to go well for you. You know, you've got more energy. You know, it's like a snowball effect, and that's gone. And I just don't see where, you know, how he's able to change it. I think, you know, 20 years he's gotten stale, and that's a natural thing to happen. God knows I love Arsene Wenger. I will always love him. You know, to say it how you see it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To personally attack the man, I think that's stepping over the line. But again, you know, when we look at this, I'm sick and tired of watching crap football, of watching players who perform far better for the national sides and who have performed far better for other sides, you know, come to us and regress. And that's a big issue. Okay, in the chat box, we have Matthew Hudson, Arkan Tiger, Jeffrey O'Hara, K-Man 1867 is there, True Gunner's there, True Gunner, sorry, Arsenic Gunner in case, Thomas from Norway, Daniel Cronin, Ali D, Turnip Surprise 88 is in the house, sorry pal, Carlito Alguna, John Matrix, Krishan Pandya, Fomi Noza, Jove 82's there. The guys from the States who are up at stupid o'clock in the morning. Matthew Hudson. Sorry, guys, I missed you. Paul Alvis is there. Phelps SJSP is there. Who else? Marble Halls TV, have I mentioned you? I hope I have. Gospel Pan is there. Guys, thank you for joining us. As always, to be fair, the chat box has been excellent again tonight. We've got a load of questions we're going to go into now. Oh, J Rob's there. Oh, Pablo Amar's there. It's all going on. If you could give us a thumbs up, we'd really, really appreciate it. Oh, Arkan Tiger, 3:30, wake up for him. Oof, that's a killer, pal. And to watch that, that's just pitiful. Yeah, if you can give us a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. As I say, you know, the guys, you know, everybody gives up their time for this, and, you know, give us a bit of encouragement if you can. Really appreciate that. Oh, the McManus is in the house as well. Love the McManus. Here we go. Harun Shabir, Vasisht, Sri Ram's there. Gary Stryers. Oh, I tell you what, the world's not such a bad place. TL Cock is there as well. Oh, TL Cock, sorry. Right. Let's get into some questions. Carl, you first. Boom, boom, boom.
Shoot.
And Jeffrey O'Hara asks, has Ozil warranted his 350 grand a week since he's signed?
Does anyone deserve to get paid 350 grand no matter what you do, unless you're saving lives? You know, but again, it's not my money. If that's what the club think that he's worth, then so be it. I may contribute to his wages by going to a few games, but is any footballer worth that sort of money? No. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, yes, you're not determined. You shouldn't play how much you get paid, because why should a 30 grand a week player play any less than for someone who gets 350 grand a week? So again, you know, it's not my money. If they want to pay him that, you know, do we expect a little more for that? Maybe, but you know, he should be playing well every single game, no matter what he gets paid. If he gets paid 10 grand, or if he gets paid 100 million pounds a week, it doesn't matter. He should always play to the best of his ability.
Unfortunately, he doesn't. I'm not being funny. He doesn't deserve 100 grand a week in some of his recent performances. I'll say it now. I was so excited when he re-signed, and it's back to normal. There you go. John, some fanny called Dom Nuska asks. Yeah, well, we've got to say it, haven't we? Seeing lots of people saying we need better defenders. Do you think it's a personnel issue or structure and coaching issue? Go.
No, it's coaching. It's coaching. Do I think we could have better centre backs? Yeah. Do I think there are better ones out there? Yes. But do I think these centre backs are good enough for what at the moment the club are trying to achieve, which is, getting ourselves back into the Champions League, maybe win the Europa League? Yeah, they're easily good enough. It just the coaching's not good enough. The midfield in front of them isn't good enough, and that's it. I really don't see a huge issue with our players. Could we get someone better than Mustafi? Yeah, probably. Could we get someone in who's better than Koscielny? Yeah, but those guys, they're all good defenders. They know how to do their job, but they need to be coached better. It's everything at this club at the moment. Honestly, does come down to coaching. Yeah, there are players we could improve on and have better certain players in certain positions, but it doesn't matter. Honestly, you could get, I don't know, who's the best centre back in the league at the moment. I wouldn't know. I don't know, like
John Stones.
John Stones, or Alderweireld, what's his name at Tottenham, and
Alderweireld.
All these guys. They're all great centre backs. But you could chuck them in our team; it wouldn't make any difference. It doesn't matter. I
totally agree. As Carl's already alluded to, there's one consistent in all this. Karl, another one from the family from down under. Aubameyang and Lacazette both scored 30-plus goals in the final seasons before coming to Arsenal, and all of a sudden they're shit. Or is there something more at play here?
Aubameyang they're not shit, and I have not been Lacazette's greatest supporter this season. I'll be very honest, but
Lacazette's shit. Chris sold us a bad one. No, I'm joking. He's joking.
Danny could score 30 goals in the feeder league, couldn't he? Come on.
But no, he's
only joking, Chris.
He's not shit. He's definitely not getting the service. 100%. He's not getting the service from arguably the greatest number 10 in the world. So that's got something to do with it. And remember, Aubameyang's only played this is his third game. So it's very. We cannot jump to conclusions after someone having 3 games and say to them, oh yeah, they're shit, because clearly he's not. You don't score 30 goals in the Bundesliga and be shit. You can score 30 goals in Liga and be shit. Let's face it, it's a shit league. But
yes, poor Karl, kick him.
But in all seriousness, Lacazette is not shit. He hasn't lived up to expectation. 100%, he has not. And for someone to only score 9 goals he scored, that's bad. It really is. He should have scored more goals than he should have. 100%. But unfortunately, you can only score the goals if you're given the ball, and and if you're on the pitch. And as we know, he's been taken up after 65 minutes on a number of occasions, and that's not his fault. And unfortunately, now he's injured and he's not going to be back for, if Arsenal say 4 to 6 weeks, you might as well put tax on that and say it's going to be at least 7 to 8. It's a guarantee. I don't think he will be back for an. It will be. What is it? We're in February, so March, April. Probably by mid-April, we'll probably see him, because, as you know, Arsenal's medical team don't tend to have the best history. So no, they're not shit. Definitely not shit, but they're just not getting the service. And remember, they've just come into the team. Give them a chance. I for one have not given Lacazette he's not been my favorite player this season. 100% he hasn't, but give him a chance. This time next season, if he's still doing exactly the same thing, then yeah, you can beat that drum and say shit.
I do think, look, we've struggled to get the ball up top. We've struggled to create anything. That's where the issue lies. And you've seen Lacazette working hard. You've seen Aubameyang, working hard, making the runs. if you're not going to create the opportunities and the through balls that these guys need to latch onto, then there's nobody can score goals. It doesn't matter if you're Ronaldo or Lionel Messi up top; they're not going to do it. And I do feel for Lacazette particularly. I think he's had a rough time. I do think he's had a dip in form because he's just not expecting the ball to come to him. That's the thing that normally happens. The ball doesn't come to you, and then when it does get to you, you got the yips. You're just missing the target all the time. It's very difficult. John and 235100 asks, apparently, according to Arsene, application wasn't the problem with the Arsenal team today, just losses of concentration.
Okay. I mean,
is he taking the piss or what? Is Arsene Wenger taking the piss with that comment? Come on.
I think sometimes he does, yeah, and then other times I just think you're on a hiding to nothing as a manager. Like, there's nothing you can say. Doesn't matter what you say, people are gonna ridicule you for it. We know that he'll generally defend the players and take a lot of the blame himself. But it wasn't concentration. It was. I think it was application, just doing simple, basic things at times. How can you lose concentration in a cup final?
We were lackluster, weren't we?
It was just poor all round, and I just honestly, to be honest, I don't listen to his press conference post game anymore because I just can't. Yeah, I can't be bothered.
Yeah, there've been some ludicrous.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things he says, a lot of the time, it's either a diversionary tactic or he's taking blame on himself instead of the players, which is fine. That's I don't have a problem with that. It's what managers do, and they'll do the old "oh, I didn't see it" that kind of thing. But when he comes out with complete nonsense, like he's talking about the second goal offside and how we should have scored from that first goal, the opportunity we had. Which I agreed with Carl. I thought it was more of a half chance than anything else. He doesn't address the actual issues.
Okay, we should have scored, but we didn't. And you're right, John. He won't.
Yeah.
Why won't you tell us why we didn't score?
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? And as I say, I love Arsene Wenger. I absolutely adore the guy. But come on, Arsene. If you're not going to answer, don't give us that nonsense.
The thing that annoys me most, Jace, just quickly on that, is I get really fed up with him, and half the time I'm like, you fucking absolute wanker, and I'm like, oh, I don't really mean it. I don't want to call you that. But then I see a pre-match press conference, and he's like, because it's talking about a new game and it's a fresh game, so he's not talking about the last one, and they're chatting to him, and it's like a nice conversation. He's so affable, and you can enjoy listening to him talk about football and everything else. And you're like, I really like him again. He's he's a nice guy that you'd want to have a conversation with. But after games, I'm like, I turn the TV off.
Yeah, because it's difficult. So you look at the Ostersons game, and for all the loyalty in the world, I'd have thrown every single one of them under a bus. Today is Man City. Yes, we were lackluster. Yes, we were poor. Okay, we were awful today. But the Ostersons game, I mean, come on, how can you? There's international footballers on the pitch for us. And as much as Ostersons played well, and they really did, and I wouldn't take anything away from them, I look at the performances put in by our players, and I think, you all need throwing under a bus. At that point, there's no fear of Arsene Wenger in that dressing room anymore. Martin made the point a while ago where he said, if you made those mistakes on the pitch, you just wouldn't play. He would address it, and he would put a stop to it by not playing you until you earned the right to be back in the team. He doesn't do that anymore.
You think about it, Bellerin could make 60 mistakes in the game, and he knows he's guaranteed to play the next game because we do not have another right back in the squad.
Yeah, but again, that is Wenger's fault. He should have strengthened the squad. He's had 100%. The money to do it.
This is what I'm saying. So Bellerin knows that no matter what, his place is guaranteed. He knows he's going to be in the squad. Koscielny knows that if he's fit, no matter what, he's going to be in the squad because he knows that Mertesacker is done. He knows that he's better than Rob Holding and he's better than Chambers. So unless he's injured or needs a rest, he knows he's guaranteed to be in the squad. Yeah. Look at Xhaka. Xhaka has made mistake after mistake after mistake, and he plays every single game. So these guys are not fearful of losing their place in the squad because they know they're going to play.
Absolutely. You know, unless you increase the quality of the base of your playing staff, you know, you're not going to increase competition for places on the playing staff. It's all well and good signing a £50 million striker, but sometimes you need two £25 million midfielders to come in and really strengthen that area. Or you know, or whatever it is on the pitch.
Pro tip that, Jace. Always say to the ladies, take it to the base.
Oh, we're reaching that level now, are we? Carl, everything rude everything asks, did we play better with Danielson and Lord Bentner era?
Jesus. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, and in name you think to yourself, remember, Man City didn't have their oil money then, so would Danielson and Bentner be able to compete with Man City oil money? No. So
no. I think he's asking, did the team play better with those players than the current squad?
Well, you'd have to say yes, because the results on the pitch would dictate that they did. And that's only in the Premier League, because remember, there was a time when we didn't, that was during the time when we didn't win any trophies whatsoever. So arguably you could say, well, we won trophies without Danielson and Bentner, but the Premier League results probably, yeah, they were better. Better football. Did we play better football? Hard to say.
Yes. Then this season, yes.
Oh yes, this season we are. I am surprised that we're 6th. It's only because there are so many poor teams behind us why we are where we are. You know, let's face it, we are not playing. We are playing as a team that's in 12th, 13th, 14th easily. And if we were down there, we'd have no complaints. No complaints whatsoever.
Absolutely. John, Jeffrey O'Hara asks, Gabriel or Mustafi?
I don't know. I do have some reservations over Mustafi because he does like to dive in and make silly errors. But so does Gabriel. He likes a fight. I'd still stick with Mustafi over Gabriel if you had to choose between the two. Being able to actually talk to your fellow centre backs is quite handy. So,
yeah, and I think people are forgetting some of the terrible mistakes Gabriel made. And let's be honest, anybody can do well in the Fraudster League. Even Cochran scored, for crying out loud. Good for Cock. Carl, Jove82 asks, the way we started the second half, is that the clearest evidence of our players not responding to the manager anymore?
No, because you can't take it on a one-game basis, because against Ostersund's, in half-time, we came out, I mean, comparatively, I know it's Ostersund's, but we came out and we got a goal early and we played relatively well against Ostersund's. You know, we shouldn't have been in the position we were anyway. But you shouldn't need a pep talk from your manager to gear you up to play in a cup final. No matter what, you shouldn't need someone to say, come on, lads, let's do this as a final. You should have it in yourself to think, I'm playing at Wembley in a cup final. I'm going to play my heart out to try and win this trophy. And then they just didn't want to do it today for some unknown reason. I have no idea why they played like they played. You know, I guess only the 11 men on the pitch and the manager should be able to answer that. But responding to Arsene Wenger, I think it's more a tactic thing. You know, what happens is we have one good game, like we'll score 5 against Everton, and then people will say, "Oh, Arsene Wenger doesn't do tactics." Well, let's put the same thing against Ostersund or the same thing against Manchester City. You know, from the total extreme, from a team that is absolutely one of the best teams probably in world football right now, to Ostersund, to a team who aren't quite known for their football, and we lost both those games. So where was his tactics then?
No, fair enough, mate. John, Loki73 asks, how about the joke back passes?
Yeah. Again, passing was poor all game. Decision making was poor all game. Putting people under pressure, something we've been doing all season. Playing passes we don't need to do, giving the opposition an easy chance and way to our goal. It's all the same thing. It's all stuff we've said before. And again, I don't think it's going to change until the manager changes. Because I just think everything, like the players, their attitude on the pitch when they went 2-0 down, you didn't see them getting fired up and going for it. And I think partly that's down to the players having a bad attitude, but I think it's also because they look around and they go, "We're not going to do it because we don't have faith in the manager as well." I think they kind of know what to expect in games now, and if you've got that attitude going out and that comes from the manager and from experience of dealing with him and working under him, it's just going to come out on the way you play on the pitch.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'll answer this one. True Gooner asks, how do you guys carry on a civil conversation instead of shouting very loud? We cry an awful lot. We cry. We do have arguments. We'll say silly things. We'll do silly stuff. But, we just cry a lot. And the 5 minutes before we come on air, that's normally when we get the anger out, I think. But, yeah. It's not. It's really not great this season.
It's why Steve's not allowed on the radio show. if Steve's going to come on, if Steve's going to come on, we'd have to have like an hour call-off period before we started.
You'd have to have 25 minutes, wouldn't you? In a cold shower. And maybe a doctor on call just in case.
Yeah. Definitely need a defibrillator.
Yeah. Team ready. Stat. I'm going to finish this off with the last question then, guys. Marble Halls TV asks, this isn't meant to offend anybody, he says, but why do some still support the manager? We've had the same issues defensively, so why can't some people see the pattern? Carl, you first.
I think it's down to a number of things. Sometimes it's all you know. It's like being almost in a toxic relationship. You know, when you're in a relationship and it doesn't work, but you're so scared to leave that person because that person's all you've sort of known in your love life. So you're scared to leave them because you don't know what's around the corner. Now, we don't know who's going to come in next. We don't know if Arsene Wenger ever does leave, who's going to be the next manager and, what they could do. And sometimes you just got to be brave and almost walk out. Like I said, I'm basing it on the relationship, but you can just kind of walk out and just be like, this is not working right now. And it's not. Unfortunately, it's not working. But if Arsene Wenger is all you've known, I'm not trying to sort of disrespect sort of younger fans, but he's been around for 20 odd years. He's done some very good things, some very, very good things, and he's done some bad things. And it's very hard to see when someone you love or someone you like so much has done so much good things, you just can't see the bad in them. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. There's always this thing of be careful what you wish for, be careful what you wish for. Now, I'll go back to my earlier point. Every single team that finished above us last season changed their manager recently.
Carl?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you weren't missing there for a second.
Oh.
Have you finished your point? Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. Just saying that we need to let go. But if people love what they love, you can't sort of help that.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? John, your opinion on this?
Let it go. Let it go.
I love that song, actually.
That's good. It's a great film. I watched that with my niece. She loves it. Those people who defend him, that's fair enough. Like you said earlier, Jace, I respect the man and all the things he's done for the club, things he's done for football in general, the Premier League as well. He's really improved the level of football in the league itself. I think he's brought other teams up around him. But I think there's, like Carl said, there's a fear to change. That's a big thing. It is very scary because you look at Man United and you go, well, it hasn't gone great for them since Ferguson's gone. Do we really want to suffer through that? Maybe if we give Arsenal a little bit more time, more money, the new guys have come in, they can help him out now. Maybe that will make a difference. You see people saying it's not the manager's fault, it's all the players on the pitch, again, which is an easy thing to see because a manager, if you look at it, what's Arsene Wenger got to do with Mustafi making that mistake today? That's not Arsene's fault. He's not he's not playing FIFA controlling Mustafi and moving him too high up the pitch or anything, is he? So I think all those things number with it. And then again, it's just people have so much respect for the man and all the stuff he's done that they don't want to see him sacked. I think if you honestly ask all those people who say they want to keep him, want him to stay, if you said to him, if he decided to leave and a new manager come in, would you take it? They'd go, yeah, that's fine. I just don't think they want to see him hounded out of the club. That's the biggest thing. But look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I've said for years on years that I wanted him to go. Jace, like you said, you were quite happy to see him, go on for a bit longer, and it was like only sort of 2015 that you really came to the conclusion maybe it is time to move on. It's different for everyone, but yeah, Hughes has just put in there. Let's not be like Not Forest and Brian Clough. And I said it to Steve the other day. So it is really starting to remind me of Cloughy. A manager who was great and did amazing things in football. And yeah, obviously it's not as bad as Forest because they got relegated and everything else, and he had other problems and things going on in his life. And there was different factors, but I do think Arsene is clinging on a little bit too much. And it is kind of going that way. And it's sad because, like Carl said, people will, in the immediate time after he does leave Arsenal, they'll remember all the bad stuff. In 30, 40 years' time, everyone will remember all the good things and kind of forget about the bad stuff. So, everyone's entitled to their opinion. If you want to support the manager, that's fine. But I can't see how you can defend, not wanting to change him, to be honest. But that's up to you.
It's difficult because
sorry, Steve. Steve, hear me. Sorry, Jace. Do you think we're becoming a bit like Liverpool, that whenever someone sort of criticizes us, the first thing we do is, oh well, we're invincible. Well, we done a double, or we've done this. Like we're relying too much on our past glories rather than sort of the here and now.
Yeah, I do actually. I think, I look at this season and you look at sort of this Twitter mentality, so and so like certain player, they can do no wrong, massively overinflating their influence on games, etc. And we all do it. We all have personal favorites, and when you actually look at what players delivered and what the teams delivered and what the managers delivered, over the last 2 seasons, I look at that FA Cup final. What a day, fantastic. But the season was poor. The league season was awful. And the league season is your bread and butter. The first time we finish outside the top 4. And I know some people say, it's happened to United, it's happened to all the other big clubs, that they finished outside the top 4. But it didn't used to happen to us. There was always that level of consistency there where, okay, you may not like the manager, but if you finish in top 4 every single season, that's a hell of an achievement. And the truth of the matter is, I think our football's gotten worse. And I think, you look at Aaron Ramsey today, he was poor. Everybody knows on this podcast I love Rambo, okay, but he was poor. But he had a lot of friends with him today. And was the Ozil signing, if you're another manager and you look at this mid-season and you got Sanchez wanting to leave, Ozil's hanging on for a new contract, there's all these things going on and he's got decisions to make. Do you actually would another manager re-sign Ozil for 350 grand a week? I'm not so sure. I think we've become very reactive, and as a club and a fan base, I'm maybe waffling a little bit on this point, but it just seems that because there's a lack of real direction from within the club, and we're not holding players to account, we're not holding the manager to account. We go back to, we're holding on to past glories because we can't really see much happening going forward, can we? Does that make sense?
It's weird that you look at everything else that's going on at the club, like Gazidis doing all the things with the commercial deals coming in really good. The new head of scouting, Raul Sanyehi, the director of football that's not allowed to be called the director of football. Yeah, all these huge positives, all really big things, and the club's becoming much more modernised and streamlined and doing everything right. And the one thing that hasn't changed at the club is the manager. And it's this weird thing that because we have this tradition and this sort of, we are the gentleman club and we do everything in the right manner and we don't like airing our dirty laundry in the press and in public and all that kind of thing. I honestly think that were we another club or were it a different manager, then Gazidis would have stepped in and said, you know what, I'm sorry, we're going to let you go. But we'll do it in the polite way and say that you're decided you've had enough and you're going to leave. But because the club have such affection for Arsene, they won't do that and they will let him, decide when he goes, which is the wrong thing to do. And it's the one thing the club are getting wrong at the moment, which is frustrating. And I think everything else at the club is actually quite positive in the direction it's going. And it's difficult. And the other thing with the arguments over the manager as well, that's just social media at the moment and just the way people are in general. There is no, like, oh, well, I can see why people might want to keep him. There's no grey area. Everything is filtered and everything you do on social media is confirmation bias because you follow people who agree with you and say things that you like listening to and conversations you want to have with them. You don't generally follow people who are going to have a different opinion and who will argue and annoy you and talk about something in a different way to you because you don't want to see that. So everything you hear and everything you see related to football and related to the club is all coming from the point of view that you generally agree with or go along with. And it just draws these ridiculous black and white, you are this side or you are that side, divisions in the fan base, in football in general and society as well. And not true, John. I follow Chris. Sorry, everything is just killed me there with that comment. Oh, it's brilliant. Sorry, that's stopped me in my tracks. But you got the point I was trying to make, Jace.
Yeah. I got your point there. I think it's a good point. It is difficult, isn't it? I mean, you look at where this club is heading, and with the renewals of the Emirates deals and certain things, we're going to have a lot of cash to spend come the summer, and things are. Things could look positive, but do you trust the manager to bring in those new players?
But don't you think everything we do is reactionary? Like we need to replace someone. It's never something positive. Or we're going to get someone else and we're going to get something else in. It's always a reaction to even the commercial deals, we're reacting to all the other clubs getting massive commercial deals.
But no. The commercial deals, the Emirates deals, etc., were long-term deals we had to sign at the time to ensure funding for the stadium. They're now coming to a natural end, and Ivan, etc., they're going out and they're getting the market rate deals that we should be getting now. Okay. So that's not reactionary. To be fair, you've got to give him credit on that. Okay, we don't know how much the deals are worth, but apparently they're big money deals, and that's all very positive. But again, it's the thing. Oh, we haven't replaced Santi Cazorla. Well, you don't need to replace Santi Cazorla. You need to form a structure and get players in to play to a structure that will take you forward. It's that kind of thing. Here's a question for you two to end this off. If you were if you were to become Arsenal manager in the summer, what are the three positions you strengthen? Carl, you first.
Goalkeeper, centre back, centre mid.
John?
Goalkeeper, centre mid, and I don't know, not centre back. Centre back probably.
See, for me, it'd be a right back. It would be two midfielders, because I think you really need to, really need to strengthen that area. Goalkeeper, I can't really argue with. To be fair, I think you've got Ospina's got to go. Is going to go, and then you need somebody to challenge, check, and take that position.
I think the thing is, it's more than three places, isn't it? That's the thing. Yeah.
Oh, we need much more than three players.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
I've got a great thing to end us on, Jace.
Go on, then.
quote from Arsene in his post-match press conference. Someone asked him about talking to the fourth official at the end of the game, what it was about. And he said apparently he asked the fourth official why they didn't play all the injury time. And the fourth official's response was, "Why do you want more time?" And there's his genuine quote. So he's got trolled by the fourth official. It's amazing.
Jesus, I gotta be honest. Well, one of the guys in the group, Neil, he was at the game today, and I think he left on 65 minutes, and there were thousands. He took a photo, and there were thousands of people streaming out of that game.
Yeah,
which kind of summed it up. You know, as if the boos after the Ostersons game weren't bad enough. You know, it's just sad times at the moment, and you know, for me, I for one hope he can. And this is a big wish. I'll be praying that he can turn it around, so we can win the Europa Cup and finish top 4. But
yep, same here.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
We hope.
I'm looking forward to watching on Thursday, Jason, not being on, just being in the box.
Yes, such an arsehole. And fuck you, Carl, as well. Fuck you. You pulled out a Thursday.
Blame London Underground because they need me to.
Oh, blame London Underground, my arse. Right, that's it. Carl, thank you very much, mate.
Yes, it was. It went as bad as I thought it was. Like, it was a. You know, we had our little moans, but the show weren't too bad. Weren't too negative. I guess.
It's never bad talking to you guys. John, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jace. Brilliant job hosting as always, mate.
Oh, I wish. To everybody in the chat box, you are superb. It's been a really entertaining, a really funny chat box. There's a couple of lunatics in there. Well, most of you are idiots anyway, which I like about you all. If you could give us a thumbs up, we'd really appreciate it. We're on 76. Come on, take us past 100 for crying out loud. Give it a go, you know. It's just one click. We got a podcast on Tuesday, I believe, and we may have a special guest on that. I can't remember what's happening. I do apologise. We'll have Gimli, Danny, Raj, Dave Goonaholic, and I think there's a special guest. So you know, tune in for that. Next week's radio show, we got, oh my God, we got City again. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't know who's on. It's me. I think it's Danny.
Ellis.
Alice. No, Ellis out. Ellis out.
Fuck Ellis. Fuck Ellis.
Thank you.
He's the reason why we lost today, because he was there.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Well played. Yeah, thank you ever so much, guys. It's been painful, but not as painful as we first thought. Take care. Good night. God save Arsene Wenger. God save Arsenal Football Club, and God save Arsene Wenger after that. All the best. Ta-da.
Bye-bye.
I've got to press the stop broadcasting thing, haven't I?